The stars shone brightly against the vast blackness of space. For 20,000 years, the Galactic Imperium had ruled over these stars with an iron grip. Made up of 1,200 advanced alien species, the Imperium was led by the Zanari, tall blue-skinned beings with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like distant suns. Commander Xel'Thorax stood on the bridge of his massive ship, looking at a holographic display of a small, unremarkable solar system. His second mouth curled into what passed for a smile among his kind. Primitive radio signals. Another undeveloped world, he said to his officers. Send the Eternal Glory to investigate. This should be routine. 50 million miles away from Earth, Captain Lisa Warren was completing a test run of humanity's most advanced spaceship, the Defiance. It was humanity's pride. The first vessel capable of reaching 10% of light speed. All systems normal, Captain, said Joe Miller, her pilot. Lisa nodded with satisfaction. Let's take her around Jupiter once more before heading home. The radar officer, Sam Brown, suddenly sat up straight. Captain, I'm picking up something big entering the solar system. It's moving impossibly fast. Lisa leaned forward. Show me. The main screen displayed a sleek vessel with glowing blue engines. It was at least 5 times larger than the Defiance and moving with grace that defied physics as humans understood it. Open communications on all frequencies, Lisa ordered, her heart pounding but her voice steady. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then the screen flickered and showed an alien face. The being had blue skin stretched over sharp features, 4 glowing eyes, and what appeared to be scales instead of hair. I am Lord Vex Mora of the Galactic Imperium, the alien said in perfect English, having apparently analyzed their broadcast signals. Your primitive vessel has been detected by our sensors. Lisa stood tall. I am Captain Lisa Warren of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with your civilization. The alien's eyes narrowed. Earth? Not in our registry. He consulted something off-screen. Ah, a Type 4 undeveloped species. How quaint. Lisa kept her diplomatic tone. We would be honored to establish relations with your Imperium and learn from you. Lord Vex Mora made a sound that might have been a laugh. Learn? What could you possibly comprehend? Your vessel is using combustion propulsion, and your communication systems rely on crude electromagnetic waves. He gestured to someone off-screen. Scan their biology. A beam of light swept through the Defiance, making the instruments go crazy for a moment. The alien's face showed clear disgust. Single-brain organisms with binary reproductive systems. Water-based carbon forms. He shook his head. Barely above the animals on your own world. Lisa felt her cheeks burn but kept her composure. We may be less advanced, but we are a peaceful species eager to join the galactic community. Community? Lord Vex Mora laughed again. You misunderstand your place. Type 4 species require oversight and guidance. Your planet will be brought under Imperium protection and development protocols. Protection? Lisa asked carefully. For your own good, of course. Your species clearly developed space travel before proper cultural evolution. This happens sometimes. A species gets lucky with technology before they're philosophically ready. We'll correct this imbalance. After the communication ended, Lisa turned to her stunned crew. Did that alien just insult our entire species? Joe asked. Worse, Lisa said quietly. I think they just claimed ownership of Earth. Send the recording to headquarters immediately. We need to prepare. As the Defiance raced back to Earth, the Eternal Glory moved deeper into the solar system, its sensors mapping every detail. Inside, Lord Vex Mora was already drafting his report to the Imperium Council, classifying Earth as a primitive world suitable for cultural restructuring, the Imperium's polite term for complete subjugation. Earth had 3 months before the main delegation would arrive. 3 months to prepare for visitors who viewed humans as barely more than clever animals. 3 months passed quickly. The nations of Earth had worked together like never before, building a special landing area for the alien visitors in Geneva, Switzerland. Today was the day the Imperium delegation would arrive. John Kelly straightened his tie as he looked at the massive crowd gathered behind safety barriers. As the newly appointed head of the Department of Extraterrestrial Relations, he carried the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. "Are you ready for this?" asked Dr. Olivia Martinez, who stood beside him. Her expertise in biology and physics had made her the perfect scientific liaison. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens who think we're one step above monkeys," John replied with a small smile. The sky darkened suddenly as an enormous ship, 10 times larger than the biggest aircraft carrier, descended silently from the clouds. Unlike the sleek scout ship from 3 months ago, this vessel was covered in ornate designs that glowed with blue and purple light. The ship landed without disturbing a single blade of grass. A ramp extended smoothly to the ground, and 7 tall figures emerged. The leader wore elaborate robes that seemed to shift colors. "I am Grand Assessor Zul Varna," the alien announced. Its voice sounded like several people speaking at once. "We come to evaluate your world for proper integration into the Imperium." John stepped forward with a practiced smile. "Grand Assessor, Earth welcomes you. I am John Kelly, and this is Dr. Olivia Martinez. We are honored by your presence." Zul Varna looked down at them. "Yes, honor is appropriate." The alien gestured to its companions. "My team will require access to your leaders, technology centers, and historical records." "Of course," John replied. "We've prepared comprehensive tours and—" "We will conduct our own examinations," interrupted Zul Varna. "Your preparations, while quaint, are unnecessary." Over the next week, the aliens visited cities around the world. They examined smartphones with the same interest humans might show a child's crayon drawing. They walked through nuclear power plants and shook their heads at the inefficiency. They studied human art and music with puzzled expressions. "I don't understand their fascination with our subway system," John said to Olivia as they watched 3 aliens taking detailed scans of the New York City subway. "They seem particularly interested in how we handle multiple tasks at once," Olivia noted. "Did you see how amazed they were that our train conductors could talk on radios while driving the train?" At a manufacturing plant in Detroit, one of the aliens named Curvex watched workers on the assembly line with unusual intensity. "Your people switch tasks every few seconds," Curvex said. "From welding to inspection to component retrieval. Why not complete one task entirely before beginning another?" "It's more efficient this way," explained the plant manager, Greg Hill. "Everyone is trained on multiple stations." The alien made a dismissive sound. "Chaotic. Proper development requires specialization and order." Later that day, in a private meeting room, Zul Varna addressed Earth's United Nations representatives. "We have completed our initial assessment," the Grand Assessor announced. "Your species has advanced remarkably quickly from stone tools to space travel. Too quickly, in fact. Such chaotic development is concerning." "We're adaptive," said the Secretary General. "You are disorderly," corrected Zul Varna. "Your biology is inefficient, requiring sleep and producing wasteful emotions. Your technology is crude approximations of proper engineering. Your social structures lack proper hierarchical stability." John noticed Dr. Martins writing something on her tablet. She slid it over to him. "They seem uncomfortable around certain metals and electronic frequencies. Their pupils contract near our copper wiring and Wi-Fi routers." John nodded slightly and returned his attention to Zul Varna, who was now explaining the Imperium's plan to establish a guidance outpost in Earth's orbit. "This facility will help correct your developmental path," the alien explained. "We expect full cooperation." As the meeting ended, John and Olivia exchanged worried glances. This wasn't partnership. This was the beginning of an occupation. "We need to learn more about them," Olivia whispered. "I think I've found some weaknesses we might be able to use." While the Imperium representatives continued their assessment of Earth, A team of scientists worked in a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room buzzed with activity as people moved between computer stations and laboratory equipment. Kevin Peters, a computer engineer with wild curly hair, looked through a microscope at what appeared to be a small metal chip. This tiny device had fallen from one of the alien visitors during their tour of the Pentagon. "I still can't believe they didn't notice dropping this," Kevin said, carefully adjusting the focus. Susan Rodriguez, a neurobiologist, leaned over his shoulder. "They seem extremely single-minded. Once they focus on something, they don't notice much else." The door opened, and Dr. Olivia Martinez entered, looking tired but excited. "Any progress?" Kevin nodded enthusiastically. "Huge progress. This isn't just a communication device. It's part of their neural interface, and I think I figured out something important about how their brains work." He pulled up a series of images on the main screen. "Look at these scan patterns. Their neural pathways are completely linear. They process information one piece at a time, in sequence. Like old computers," Susan added, "before parallel processing was invented." Olivia's eyes widened. "So they can't multitask?" "At all." "Not even a little," Kevin confirmed. "It explains why they're so thrown off by our subway workers talking on radios while driving trains. To them, that's like magic." Susan pointed to another screen showing chemical analyses. "And that's not all. Their biology has some serious limitations. They're extremely sensitive to iron and copper. Both metals are toxic to them. That's why they use those exotic alloys instead of simple metals that would work better. It's like they're allergic to Earth," Kevin said with a small laugh. Olivia sat down, processing this information. "So despite their advanced technology, they have fundamental weaknesses. They can't adapt quickly to new situations or handle multiple inputs simultaneously." "Exactly," Susan said. "And there's more. Their hearing range is much narrower than ours. They can't detect high frequencies at all. We could literally have conversations they couldn't hear if we spoke above 15 kilohertz." Across the country, in Washington, D.C., John Kelly sat in a tense meeting with the alien delegation. Grand Assessor Zul Varna was explaining the details of the guidance outpost they plan to build. "The facility will house 5,000 Imperium personnel," the alien explained, showing holographic plans that floated in the air. "From there, we will direct your species' proper development." "And if we refuse this generous offer?" asked the Secretary of Defense. Zul Varna's four eyes blinked in sequence. "Refusal is not an option available to Type 4 species. The Imperium has protocols for resistance. They are unpleasant." John's phone vibrated. He glanced down to see a message from Olivia. "Major Breakt ROUG. Call immediate Eloy." "If you'll excuse me for just a moment," John said, standing up. "A pressing matter requires my attention." Zul Varna looked annoyed. "We have not finished our discussion." "I understand, but our customs require me to address certain issues immediately. I'll return shortly." John walked out before the alien could object further. In the hallway, he called Olivia. "What did you find?" "They have weaknesses, John. Big ones," Olivia explained quickly. "They can't process information in parallel like we can. They can only focus on one thing at a time. And certain Earth elements are toxic to them." A slow smile spread across John's face. "So their supposed superiority isn't as complete as they claim?" "Not even close. Their technology is advanced, yes, but their biology has major limitations. We need to get this information to Admiral Miller right away." "I'll handle it," John said. "I think it's time we stopped playing the cooperative primitive species and showed them what humans are really capable of." As he hung up, John felt a surge of hope for the first time since the aliens had arrived. Humanity had been underestimated. Now they would use that misconception to their advantage. Admiral Frank Miller stood tall in the United Nations chamber. His blue uniform was decorated with medals from 30 years of military service. The room was filled with world leaders and the alien delegation, who looked down at the humans with their usual superiority. Grand Assessor Zulvarna, Frank began, his voice firm. Before Earth accepts your guidance outpost, we propose a series of competitions between our species. The alien leader's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Competitions? For what purpose? To demonstrate our capabilities. Frank replied, if we are truly as primitive as you believe, these contests will prove it. But if we show merit, perhaps we deserve more respect in this arrangement. Lord Vexmora, who had returned with the main delegation, let out a sound like grinding metal, an alien laugh. This is amusing. The primates wish to prove themselves. Zulvarna considered for a moment. What competitions do you propose? Frank stepped forward confidently. 5 contests: technological innovation, military strategy, artistic creation, physical endurance, and adaptive problem-solving. The aliens whispered among themselves. Finally, Zulvarna nodded. We accept. This will provide entertaining documentation for the Imperium archives. Your species' misplaced confidence will be a valuable lesson for other developing worlds. After the meeting, Frank met with John Kelly and Olivia Martinez in a secure room. Do you really think this will work? John asked nervously. Frank nodded. We needed time, and now we have it. These competitions will keep them busy while we prepare our real response. We've assembled teams for each contest, Olivia explained, showing profiles on her tablet. Our best and brightest. And each team knows to exploit the weaknesses we've discovered. Patricia Jackson, a brilliant engineer from Silicon Valley, led the technology team. They were given 1 week to improve an Imperium power coupling. The aliens had provided the device as a simple challenge that they believed would be nearly impossible for humans. Patricia studied the alien device in her lab. It's elegant but also limited, she told her team. They've optimized it for sequential power distribution because that's how they think. But we can redesign it for parallel processing. Her team worked day and night. The aliens visited occasionally, watching with clear amusement as the humans struggled with technology they barely understood. Your efforts are admirable, if futile, said Curvex, the alien technology specialist. This coupling took our engineers 50 years to perfect. Patricia just smiled. We work differently than you do. On the military strategy front, retired General Alan Wright faced a Zenari tactician in a complex war simulation. The alien expected to easily outmatch the human. The simulation has 8,000 variables. The Zenari explained. No primitive mind could process such complexity. Alen nodded politely. Let's find out, shall we? Meanwhile, composer Nicole Thompson led the artistic team, studying how sound affected alien physiology. They respond to certain frequencies in ways they can't control, she told her musicians. We'll use that. Throughout these preparations, news of the competition spread across the Imperium. The story of primitive humans challenging their superiors became popular entertainment. Viewing parties were arranged on thousands of worlds to watch the expected humiliation of Earth. Lord Vexmora spoke directly to Imperium audiences through their version of television. These humans believe they can compete with us. Their failure will amuse you all and remind everyone of the Imperium's rightful place in the galaxy. What the aliens didn't know was that each human team was carefully exploiting the weaknesses Olivia's scientists had discovered. They were preparing demonstrations that would target the aliens' inability to multitask and their sensitivity to certain materials. As the day of the first competition approached, Patricia Jackson made final adjustments to her redesigned power coupling. She looked at her team with determination. Tomorrow, we change everything. The Great Hall in Geneva was packed with humans and aliens alike. Massive screens had been set up to broadcast the competitions across Earth and throughout the Imperium. The technological challenge would be first. Patricia Jackson stood confidently next to her team's workstation. Across from her, 3 Zenari engineers looked down at her with their glowing eyes. Begin, announced Grand Assessor Zulvarna. The challenge was simple in theory: improve the efficiency of the Imperium power coupling. The aliens moved with practiced precision, their four hands working on one task at a time in perfect sequence. Patricia's team worked differently. Each person handled multiple tasks simultaneously. One engineer soldered connections while checking measurements. Another coded software while discussing design changes with a colleague. The Zenari engineers paused occasionally, confused by the humans' approach. They couldn't understand how the humans could focus on so many things at once. After 6 hours, time was called. The alien team presented their coupling first. It was an elegant improvement that increased efficiency by 12%. Then Patricia presented the human design. We completely redesigned the core processor to handle multiple power channels simultaneously instead of in sequence, she explained. When tested, the human coupling showed a 67% improvement. The aliens stared in disbelief. "Impossible," said Curvex. "Your species cannot have the mental capacity for such design work." Patricia smiled. "We think differently than you do. That's all." The military strategy competition came next. General Alan Wright faced the Zenari tactician in a complex war simulation. The alien confidently input a series of precise, logical moves that had won countless battles across the galaxy. Alan studied the simulation, then began making moves that seemed random and chaotic. He split his forces, attacked from multiple angles simultaneously, and changed strategies without warning. The alien became visibly frustrated, unable to predict or counter the seemingly illogical approach. When Alan launched 3 different attack types at once, the alien froze momentarily, overwhelmed by too many inputs. The simulation ended with a clear human victory. The crowd erupted in cheers while the alien delegation whispered urgently among themselves. "Your tactics violated established strategic principles," the Zenari tactician complained. Alan shrugged. "Winning was the only principle I was concerned with." The artistic competition proved even more devastating for the aliens. Nicole Thompson had composed music specifically designed to affect Zenari biology. Her orchestra played a piece that used frequencies that triggered involuntary emotional responses in the aliens. As the music swelled, the Zenari judges began to tremble. Their color changed from blue to purple, and their eyes flickered. They were experiencing emotions they couldn't control or understand. "Stop!" shouted Zulvarna, rising from his seat. "This is some form of attack." Nicole stopped the orchestra. "It's just music, Grand Assessor. Art is meant to evoke emotion." The physical endurance competition pitted human athletes against Zenari warriors in a course that required both strength and quick thinking. The aliens were stronger, but they struggled when the course required them to balance, climb, and solve puzzles simultaneously. Ben Foster, a former Olympic decathlete, finished the course in half the time of his alien competitor. The Zenari warrior had paused at each new obstacle, unable to plan his next move while still completing the current task. By the time the final competition in adaptive problem-solving began, the alien delegation was visibly agitated. Humans had won every contest so far, and news was spreading across the galaxy. Lord Vex Moore received an urgent message from the Imperium Council. "This situation is becoming problematic," the council member warned. "Other species are watching these competitions with great interest. End this immediately." But it was too late. The competitions had revealed a truth the Imperium had kept hidden for thousands of years. Their supposed superiority was a carefully crafted illusion, and humanity had just exposed it to the entire galaxy. Ambassador Laura Garcia sat alone in her office, reviewing reports from the competitions. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of her computer. Her phone beeped with an incoming message marked Unknown Source. Curious, she opened it. The screen displayed strange symbols that quickly changed to English. "Need private meeting. Information vital to Earth. Square near fountain. Midnight. Come alone." Laura was suspicious but intrigued. She notified security discreetly and went to the meeting spot that night. The square was empty except for a hooded figure sitting on a bench. As Laura approached, the figure looked up, revealing a face unlike the Zanari. This alien had golden skin with delicate patterns and large, gentle eyes. "I am Lara of the Threllan people," the alien said softly. "What I share risks my life." Laura sat beside her. "I'm listening." "The Imperium lies," Lara said. "They are not as advanced as they claim. Their rule is based on convincing other species they are superior when they are not." Laura's eyes widened. "But their technology, much of it stolen or adapted from conquered worlds," Lara interrupted. "For 20,000 years, they have dominated through psychological manipulation rather than true superiority. They identify each species' insecurities and exploit them." "Why tell me this?" Laura asked. "Because humans are different. You think in ways the Zanari cannot comprehend. Your competition victories have sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, many species are questioning Imperium authority." Later that night, Laura received another message, this time from a Vorx representative named Drykor. They met in a secure room beneath the embassy. The reptilian alien showed Laura data on his tablet. "The Imperium maintains control through fear and propaganda. Their military might is concentrated in just a few key systems. Most of their fleet is ancient, barely functional. Why haven't other species challenged them before?" Laura asked. "Because they convince each new species that resistance is futile before they understand the truth," Drykor explained. "They target young spacefaring civilizations, appear with impressive technology, and establish control before the species can assess Imperium weaknesses. And we surprised them," Laura said, understanding now. "Precisely. Humans move from first contact to challenging their authority in mere months. No species has ever adapted so quickly. The Zanari cannot comprehend your mental flexibility." Over the next few days, Laura secretly met with representatives from 12 different species. Each shared similar stories of Imperium manipulation and control. A Kelvaxi scientist explained how the Imperium had classified their species as mathematically limited despite their brilliant discoveries. "They suppress our research and take our best ideas as their own," she said. A Jorvan engineer described how his people had developed faster than light travel independently, but were told their design was primitive compared to Imperium standards. "They forced us to abandon our technology and use theirs instead, making us dependent on them for parts and maintenance." Laura brought this information to John Kelly and Admiral Miller. "The entire Imperium is built on lies," she explained. "They're not gods or super beings. They're just another species who found a way to control others through manipulation." "This changes everything," Admiral Miller said. "If we share this information with other species." "We already have allies reaching out," Laura replied. "The Threllan and Vorx are ready to support us. Others are cautiously watching." John looked thoughtful. "The competitions weren't just about proving ourselves. They were about showing the galaxy that the Imperium can be challenged." "Exactly," Laura said. "And now we need to prepare. The Imperium Council won't take this humiliation lightly. They'll strike back forcefully to make an example of us." Admiral Miller nodded grimly. "Then we'd better be ready. I'll alert our defense forces." As Laura looked out her window at the night sky, she knew the real challenge was just beginning. Humanity had exposed the Imperium's greatest lie. Now they would face the consequences of that revelation. Captain Daniel Carter stood on the command deck of Earth's orbital defense platform. Through the large window, he could see the blue planet below. The platform had been built hastily over the past 2 months, using both human technology and insights gained from studying alien systems. "Captain, we're detecting multiple ships entering the solar system," said Ella Johnson, his radar officer. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. Daniel leaned forward. "How many?" 27 large vessels, sir. Based on the engine signatures, they match Imperium warships." Daniel took a deep breath. "Send the alert to Earth Command. Operation Parallel is now active." Across Earth, military bases went on high alert. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Miller gathered with world leaders to coordinate the response. The Imperium fleet will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours, he explained, pointing to the large screen showing the approaching ships. They clearly intend to make an example of us. Are our defenses ready? Asked the Secretary General. Dr. Olivia Martinez stepped forward. Yes. Thanks to what we learned about their weaknesses, we've prepared specialized countermeasures. Over the past weeks, Patricia Jackson and her engineering team had reverse-engineered key Imperium technologies and improved upon them. They had created weapons that exploited the aliens' biological sensitivity to certain metals and frequencies. Their ships are designed like their minds, to handle one task at a time, in sequence, Patricia explained. Our defense systems will present multiple threats simultaneously, overwhelming their ability to respond. In space, the Imperium fleet approached Earth with confidence. Lord Vexmora stood on the command deck of the flagship. He had been given clear orders: make the humans surrender completely or destroy their major cities as punishment. These primitives have caused enough trouble, he told his officers. Today we restore the natural order. As the alien fleet moved into position, they were surprised to find Earth not panicking, but prepared. Dozens of defense satellites activated, surrounding the planet like a shield. They cannot possibly hope to resist, Lord Vexmora said dismissively. Begin the attack sequence. The Imperium ships fired their first volley, expecting to easily destroy Earth's defenses. Instead, the human satellites absorbed the energy and immediately counterattacked from multiple directions simultaneously. The Imperium captains struggled to respond. Their ship's systems, designed to handle threats in sequence, couldn't process the multiple attack vectors. Alarms blared as human weapons targeted their ship's vulnerable areas. Back on the defense platform, Daniel received reports of the battle. The copper-tipped missiles are working, he told his crew. Their shields can't filter out the particles, and the multi-frequency sonic disruptors are confusing their navigation systems. Several Imperium ships began to drift, their crews disoriented by the human weapons that exploited their inability to filter multiple sensory inputs. This is impossible, Lord Vexmora shouted as his flagship shuddered from another hit. How can primitives have developed such effective countermeasures? On Earth, Admiral Miller watched with grim satisfaction. Send the message, he ordered. Daniel's voice transmitted to the Imperium fleet. Attention Imperium vessels. Your weaknesses are now known to us. Your ships are vulnerable. Withdraw immediately or face destruction. For several tense minutes, the Imperium fleet continued to struggle against the human defenses. 3 of their smaller ships had already been disabled, their crews incapacitated by weapons designed specifically to target Zenari biology. Finally, Lord Vexmora gave the order to retreat. The remaining Imperium ships turned and fled from Earth's orbit, their once mighty appearance now diminished. As news of the retreat spread across Earth, celebrations began, but Admiral Miller and his team remained serious. This isn't over, he told the others. We've won the first battle, but the Imperium won't accept this humiliation easily. We're not alone anymore, Laura Garcia reminded him. Our allies throughout the galaxy are watching. The Imperium's myth of invincibility has been shattered. Daniel looked out at the stars from his command post. Humanity had stood against the supposed masters of the galaxy and prevailed. The real war for freedom was just beginning. 6 months after the failed Imperium attack, Earth had changed dramatically. Ships from 24 alien species now orbited the planet, establishing trade and cultural exchanges. The revelation of the Imperium's false superiority had sparked a galaxy-wide rebellion. Admiral Lisa Warren, newly promoted after the battle, stood on the bridge of the Defiance I*, Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Built with technology shared by their new allies, it could travel at speeds the humans had once thought impossible. All systems ready, Admiral, reported Joe Miller, still her trusted pilot after all these months. Take us out, Lisa ordered. Set course for the Zenari homeworld. The ship accelerated smoothly into space, leading a diplomatic fleet with representatives from 18 different species. Their mission: to formally end the Imperium's 20,000-year rule. On the view screen, Ambassador Laura Garcia studied reports from across the galaxy. Another 6 systems have declared independence from the Imperium this week, she told Lisa. The Zenari have lost control of almost 40% of their territory. And they still don't understand why, Lisa replied. They can't comprehend how their perfect system collapsed so quickly. Laura nodded. Their sequential thinking is both their strength and their greatest weakness. They built impressive technology, but can't adapt when their established patterns fail. The journey to the Zenari homeworld took 3 weeks. When they arrived, the once mighty center of the Imperium was in chaos. Rebel ships from former subject worlds patrolled the skies. The Grand Imperium Council building now flew flags from a dozen liberated species. Lisa led the Earth delegation to the central chamber where the remaining Imperium leaders waited. Lord Vexmora and Grand Assessor Zulvarna sat at a long table, their once proud postures now slumped in defeat. "Welcome, representatives of Earth and the allied worlds," said an elderly Zenari with pale blue skin. "I am High Counselor Meltorax. We are prepared to discuss terms." Lisa stepped forward. "We don't come to destroy the Zenari people, but to end the Imperium's oppression. For too long, you've ruled through deception rather than cooperation." Zulvarna's eyes flashed with anger. "Our civilization has stood for 20,000 years. We brought order to chaos. We guided primitive species toward proper development." "No," Laura countered firmly. "You suppressed their natural evolution. You forced every species to develop as you dictated, ignoring their unique strengths and abilities." Around the room, representatives from formerly subjugated worlds nodded in agreement. An alien with feathered skin spoke up. "The Zenari told my people we were intellectually inferior because we think visually rather than verbally. For centuries we believed them. Now we know our visual thinking allows us to solve problems the Zenari cannot even comprehend." Similar stories came from other species. Each had been convinced of their inferiority, when in reality they simply had different strengths than the Zenari. High Counselor Meltorax finally raised his hand. "We understand now. The Imperium as it was cannot continue." The negotiations lasted for days. In the end, a new galactic alliance was formed. Every species, including the Zenari, would have equal representation. No single approach to technology, art, or governance would be imposed on others. On the final day, Lisa and Laura walked through the gardens outside the council building. "It's remarkable," Laura said. 6 months ago, we were facing alien occupation. Now we're helping reshape the galaxy." Lisa looked up at the stars. "Because we showed them something they'd never considered. That different isn't inferior. That diversity of thought and approach makes all of us stronger." Back on Earth, people celebrated the news. Humanity had not only avoided subjugation, but had helped free countless other species from oppression. Dr. Olivia Martinez stood with John Kelly watching the celebrations from a balcony in Geneva. "What do you think happens next?" John asked. Olivia smiled. "We learn from each other. We explore together. The galaxy just got much bigger and much more interesting." In the night sky above, new stars appeared, ships arriving from distant worlds, bringing visitors eager to meet the species that had humbled the mighty Imperium not through superior strength, but through the uniquely human ability to adapt, innovate, and cooperate in ways the galaxy had never seen before.